Hey, what's going on? I just platinumed the port for Legend of the Dragoon on PS5 last night, and I thought I'd give a quick review. This game, in my opinion, didn't age the best. There's a lot of in-game choices that I didn't enjoy. Overall, I enjoyed the game, but it definitely showed its age, especially by the end of the overall experience. Um, One of the biggest glaring issues in the game is the limited inventory space. The game gives you, I believe, about 8 items that can be reused, but you only have 32 spaces overall, so that leaves you 24 if you're like me and you don't want to get rid of reusable items, even though in all actuality I think I used maybe 5 of the reusable items the entire game. Um, One of the areas where the game falls short and shows its age the most is graphically, um, because even at the end of the game when you're supposed to see this big climactic ending, it just fell flat for me because graphically it just didn't hit the mark. Overall presentation, it just showed its age. Another area where, for me personally, the game just didn't hit the mark. The combat system has a QTE combat system, and I'm not a fan of that. Thankfully, the game does supply you with a way to circumvent that. I'll leave that for you guys to find out for yourselves. But I am grateful for that. And it turned it into a turn-based RPG, which is my preference. So that was both a plus and minus. One of the bigger things as well where the game comes up a bit short and it's a bit of an unnecessary grind is the way the economy works in the game. A lot of the items are very expensive and gold is difficult to come by unless you know what you're doing. So much so that there's a trophy for collecting 7,000 gold. The Speaking of the trophies, the platinum is generally quite simple. There are several missable trophies, but they're pretty much in your face for the most part, with the exception of one where you have to collect 30 stardust, and there's plenty of guides out there to tell you, where to pick them up. So even that is something that should be relatively simple. Overall, it's a very easy platinum. The game is very dated in terms of its graphics. Some of the gameplay is, in my opinion, dated. Another thing is like one of its core combat mechanics is being able to become a Dragoon. You're going to get to a point in the game, in my honest opinion, where you're not even going to use that ability anymore because you don't want to keep seeing the same skills and graphics over and over again. And in order to skip that, you just stick to the turn-based regular combat because there's no option to skip the animations, and that's one of the things that a remake of this game would go a long way to giving it more accessibility and more of the modern touch where you could potentially skip the animations of the attacks and everything, because they do get very repetitive, especially during like boss fights and you're seeing a boss do the same attack for the 10th time. Overall, I enjoyed my experience, but there could be a bias in there just because, I played this game back in the day as well. If the rumors are true and there is a remake coming, my advice would be wait for the remake and have a better overall experience. But for those of you who like the classic RPGs and you haven't played this one, this is definitely one worth checking out. Just be mindful that it does have its flaws and its outdated mechanics and things like that. Overall, you may find enjoyment in it as I did. Keep on gaming.